Greetings, old school magic blades, and welcome to the Four Horsemen. Greetings, old school magic players. Welcome to another episode of the Four Horsemen. In tonight's video, we're going to be covering our Four Horsemen Old School Magic Tournament number 21 quarterfinals. And tonight, I'm joined here with my co-host, fellow player, and now getting quite seasoned at commentating, Tim Kincaid. Tim, how's it going?
Hey, good evening, Chad, and hello, fellow old school magic players.
Thanks for joining me tonight, Tim. This is a really interesting match we have lined up for you. For tonight's video, if you haven't watched any of the prior videos, we are into our top 8 of our Tournament 21. This is our Wild West. This is a return to the original Four Horsemen Old School Magic of June of 2022, the summer of 2022, when we first launched this format. And we have run 21 tournaments since, and the Wild West is a return to our original banned and restricted for that event. Four Horsemen Old School Magic is the only old school magic group that focuses exclusively on the original first 4 expansions of Magic the Gathering: Arabian Nights, Antiquities, Legends, and the Dark. Check us out at fourhorsemenmagic.com. Okay, Tim, we're about to get into the match and the brackets. We'll do a little deck tech review. We've talked a bit about the tournament in our first other couple of top 8 videos. What would you like to add to the commentary on the Wild West overall so far?
Yeah, the throwback is really neat, Chad. It takes us back, like to the antiquity days of the people finding out what was really good in this format. Because, like I've said, this is kind of like the block format of old school magic, just block, right? Just the expansion sets, the original 4. So it's a block format, and nobody really knew what was going to be good or what was great. And the original BNR is just kind of like, you guys were just kind of treading through unknown waters, right? And trying to find your way and see what would be powerful, what needed to be banned, restricted. And so this format is really neat to have some of these newer players go back and try that out if they missed it, or even if they were around playing, they get to experiment with other deck ideas, because there's endless deck ideas in Magic, right? And so it's neat to go back and see the original Four Horsemen.
I think that's a fantastic summary. And, Tim, spoken by someone like yourself, you've navigated a few champions wins yourself in some of our prior tournaments, but you weren't with us in these early days. And this Wild West concept is very apt. Like, it was crazy. And I had never started a format. And in fact, I had just stumbled back into Magic during COVID. And so there was a lot of innovating going on, but there was also a lot of just kind of like, we didn't know what we were doing. We just kind of, lifted our sails and wherever the wind blew us, that's where we ended up. And it took us to some really shocking and crazy places, but also some really cool places. And so it's been a lot of fun to get this Wild West tournament going this summer. For the viewers, we have an active Facebook group. Check us out at facebook.com/group/4horsemenmtg. And Tim, what would you like to say about just the original banned and restricted here? I know we've talked about it a lot, but what's the overall flavor of this?
It's simple, and it's the let's see who can win the lottery version of old school magic and Four Horsemen, right? It's let's see who gets the LOA, the Library of Alexandria, And if you get it, it's an excited feeling, right? You're going to get the card event. But then there's 4 strip mines in the format to kind of answer the Loa. And then there's the City of Bottle, which can answer Loa, and a plethora of other hard-hitting Arabian Night creatures. I don't really see the need for Arena of the Ancients. I'm the kind of guy that thinks Legends should all cost like 1 colored mana of your choice less as it is. But we've got the Arena of the Ancients here in play as on the restricted list, and the Cylex that blows up all the Antiquity cards. Now that's a good card for the restricted list because the hate for the robots is needed, I think, here.
Yeah, and we did have a lot of folks talk about the Arena of the Ancients. That's interesting that you zoomed in on that. But actually, the Arena of the Ancients is on the restricted list with the nod and the nudge to try to encourage players to play more Legends. If you were facing down, if Legends were dominating and you were facing a deck that could have 2 or 3 Arena of the Ancients in the sideboard, we thought that would really discourage players from playing Legends cards, legendary creatures. So, Nick Breyer threw that on the restricted list, and that's how it ended up there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so this 4 Horsemen original banned and restricted gets merged in with our basic lands and dual lands, and that forms the Wild Wild West in Tournament 21. Okay, Tim, let's take a look at the brackets. We've covered our first couple of matches. We've tackled you versus Lucas, and we've also tackled Frankie versus Christian. And in tonight's video, we're going to be tackling the match Jack Clegg versus Miles Stephen Brown. Let's look at the deck overview. Jack is on the left here with his, quote, edging Kobolds deck, a lands attacks edge, Kobolds Ornithopter Bloodlust deck. Really spicy and very cool. And then on the right, we have Brian Burrows' Arabian aggro deck. The traditional 4 Horsemen red-green, but with some interesting main deck includes. Let's get into those decks now, Tim.
Did you say Brian Burrow or Stephen Brown?
Did I say the wrong deck? I said the wrong deck. Excuse me. Apologies. That's right.
That's right. I'm looking at Stephen Brown. Kiss my ape. Red green. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Let me fix my graphics. This is definitely his deck. I just forgot to update the name, so let me fix that. Miles Stephen Brown, Kiss My Ape. Right?
Yeah, Kiss My Ape, red green, traditional, some nice red green Arabian aggro.
That's
here.
right. Yeah, I ended up copying the graphics from one of my other slides. All right, I got that fixed. Sorry, Miles, Stephen Brown, and Brian Burrow. Brian Burrow's been on red green for so long. Every time I see a red green deck, I'm like, oh, it's Brian's.
It's Brian again. Yeah. I understand.
So, and Brian is also in this match. He's in the top 8 as well, and we'll cover his match in the next video. But starting with Jack's deck first, the Edging Kobolds deck. What do you think of this brew, Tim?
Well, first off, congrats to both Jack and Steven here for making the quarterfinals. Or no, is this semis or quarters here?
We are in top 8 quarterfinals here.
Top 8.
Yep.
Top 8, because I think they've been able to navigate through 36 players for this tournament, 30 something. So congrats to both of these guys. Jack is just, man, he is all in on the low mana cost, the low casting cost stuff to get behind his land tax. He wants to play things that don't make him have to play more than one land. In fact, he's playing 8 0-drops. I think he's got the Kobolds of Karakeep and the Ornithopter just as a bloodlust target that can just get down and do 4 to your opponent with not having to play any lands, or they can block, I guess, and chump and buy him a turn or something. But yeah, he wants to get in there and he's got the Spirit Links to nullify his opponents, or, he could even throw that on a Tundra Wolves if need be. So yeah, I mean, 12 1 or 0 drops. Not to mention the Tax, Spirit Link, Chain Lightning, Winds of Change. He's got 16 more 1 drops and a Felden's Cane. And then he has 8 2 drops, Bloodlust and Divine Offerings, and 4 Land's Edge at the 3 drop for his win con. Wow, what a low casting cost deck. And I love to see the Kobolds and the Ornithopter. That's so fun with Bloodlust.
Yeah, it's really, really unique. And John was saying when we were talking about this deck, he's like, I thought my Tax Edge decks that I worked on with Philippe Dizian, who made it into the finals match twice with the Tax Edge, just not clinching the win and having very tough matchups. But he had a very low to the ground Tax Edge decks with the clergy of the Nimbus and Tundra Wolves and what did he have? The priests that remove the enchant creatures, and he had every 1/1 white creature you could possibly.
Oh, you mean Miracle Worker?
Miracle
the
Worker, yes,
from the dark.
right?
Yeah,
and
cool.
The Bloodlusts were also there, but this takes a whole new angle because you can play these Kobolds and these Ornithopters for nothing. So you're even lower in your mana curve and can sit on one land for even longer. So it's a very unique and interesting, kind of out of left field type version of Tax Edge, and that Bloodlust really makes it work.
Yes, it is out of left field, Chad. He's really come out with the spice here, but it's still competitive. Here he is in the top 8, right?
Yeah,
Jack.
that's right.
So he's like spicy. He's like Pepper Jack, spicy cheese.
Pepper Jack Clegg.
Pepper Jack.
Pepper Jack Clegg and edging Kobolds.
But what's amazing to me is that he did this with the spice. He could have ran cards like 4 Ivory Tower, right? That's what everybody loves to run with the land tax element. He doesn't have the Ivory Tower, and he doesn't have the Mistress Factory, which is like, okay, so I'm on 2 lands now. I'll just sit back here and bash with my 2/2.
Well, that could be argued that might be a way to improve this deck. I don't know if he really needs the Felden's Cane in the main deck, but he's not running any of the power lands. Notice there's another extremely powerful land that he's missing here, Tim. What is that land that he's missing?
The Loa, especially with the tax, right? You get the 3 cards, you got 7, you draw.
Yeah, now Jack may be I only want to play cards I own kind of guy, and we have a lot of respect and appreciation for that. But he decided, I think, not to run Loa. What do you think about that decision?
You could be spot on with your assessment that maybe he just wanted to play cards he owned, or maybe he just thought, I don't want to sit here on Loa because I need to have a red or a white mana in play, and if I play Loa, then I have to play a second land to actually cast my, or Loa requires him, like I said, to play more colored lands on top of the Loa just to cast his win cons.
Yeah. I do think there's a argument to be made that this deck should have the factories because you have to get to 2 lands to play Bloodlust anyway. And if you think about it, your Kobolds of Carekeep and your Ornithopters will do nothing in the game until you play your second land. And the only way they can deal damage is through Bloodlust. So I don't know if I love the fact that he's not running those factories main, but I understand he's wanting to trigger land tax a lot. He's got 9 basic plains and 6 mountains. I kind of think, man, if I were Jack, I might just go for the City of Brass instead of the mountains, and just do 4. And you really only need, you only need 1 or 2 mountains tops in your deck, right? If you have to go fishing with your land tax for that second mountain. So he could very easily come down to just, the City of Brass. Or he could just go with those plateaus, forego the City of Brass, do 2 mountains and 4 factories, and he'd still be able to trigger land tax to get that second red if he needed it down the road. And then he'd have the factories to be beaten in. Whereas now he's got the Kobolds, the Carekeep, and the Ornithopters, and he's not going to be hitting for damage with those at all until he gets to 2 mana. And at that point, you could be hitting with the factory anyway.
Yeah, it seems like there's you've always got good insight, Chad, onto ways people could possibly make the deck better. You've been doing this now for 21 different tournaments, so yeah, you're the master here. But Jack, like I said, my hat's off to him. Look how well he has done with what he has compiled here, and
Right.
he's got the spicy pepper jack goodness going on.
Oh yeah, and he won that award too. He won the Spice Award, and he's in the top 8. And I am by no means, I guess I'm the expert, Monday quarterback or whatever they call it, right? I'm quarterbacking after the fact here. It's really very easy to, once you've recorded all the matches and seen a bunch of the games, ramble off some critique to optimize things. But Jack did a lot of deck testing with this deck, and he was very comfortable with it, and he changed it quite a bit too, because we played some practice games early on. So really cool to see Jack Clegg making it in to the top 8 with his edging Kobolds, and a nod to our Wombats, the Brisbane Wombats old school crew, and our Aussie team overall. Okay, Tim, let's get into the next deck. Now that we've got the right name, Stephen Brown's Kiss My Ape.
Yeah, Stephen, I actually remember listening to some of the audio of these two guys, Jack and Stephen, playing. And Stephen and Jack, they really just sounded like they were having a really fun set of games. And it's nice and refreshing to see players come in. I want to say this is Stephen's first time playing. Is that right?
That's right. Stephen Miles Brown is new to Four Horsemen, and this is his first tournament. And also, much like Frankie, Frankie came in from Switzerland. I don't quite remember where Stephen is. Maybe he's in Canada. I can't remember. But yeah, first tournament, I believe, and making it into the top 8. Pretty impressive.
So it's refreshing to see some fresh blood, some new blood come in and just genuinely be just enjoying themselves, playing some old school magic cards, and and just seeing the weirdness of these Four Horsemen format decks. Like, wow, you've got kobolds, and you've got tundra wolves, and and you've got ornithopters with bloodlust, and so I'm sure he enjoyed this matchup. But Stephen, his deck looks very elementary, but it screams consistency to me. He also has the flyers in the form of Fire Sprite, which not only can fix his mana, giving him the red mana if he has green, but it also gets around modes. So like he could just have a Pendlehaven and a Fire Sprite and hit for 2 a turn, or even possibly 5 or 6 with the Bloodlust even. So that's a good finisher, and that rounds out his aggro, as well as the fact that he has Scavenger Folks, Blood Moon, Shatterstorms, Detonates, for a host of artifact removal, and I'd love to see that.
Yeah, it's really cool to see, and this is also very representative of a typical initial dipping your toe in the water for Four Horsemen. Almost every single player has access to the majority of the red-green cards that you would need for Four Horsemen, because they're all been reprinted, or they're all very low cost, except for the Taigas, but we do allow proxies. And you can build a fairly effective, red-green deck. And even still, we've seen surprise cards pop up now and then. Things like Inferno, and things like Cyclone, the enchantment from Arabian Nights, and cards like Stormseeker. And then, of course, Bloodlust is also pretty spicy, but also very reminiscent of Sidewalk Magic, from back in the day. So, this deck just screams reminiscence to me, and I do like that he's running some of the cards that are absolutely necessary, like the Scavenger Folks, the Shatterstorms, and the Detonates. He's very well prepared to deal with these turn 1 Ivory Towers and these robots, except for Triskelion. He's not running Artifact Blast main, but he is running it in the sideboard along with 4 Golgothian Pixies.
Nice.
So, yeah, Miles Stephen Brown is very prepared for the expected, robots, artifacts meta. And he's also running the main deck Blood Moons. There's only 2 of them, but, between your 4 Strip Mines, your 2 Blood Moons, and then he's also got 3 Desert Twisters in the board. He's going to be able to deal with a lot of these problematic lands. Mishra's Factories, Mishra's Workshop, Maze of Ith, Island of Whack Whack, Diamond Valley. And I like that he's running all these answers main, the things that he thinks he's going to run into the most.
Yeah, he might be a little weak to the Abyss, though, not having factories and the fact that all his creatures will die to an Abyss. But you're right, he's definitely ready for a heavy robot meta, and he had Moat in mind, you can tell.
Yes. Yeah, so really good brew by Steven, and hats off for making it to top 8. We've neglected to do this in the past, but Brian Weissman is a big proponent of this. Before we jump into the match, edging Kobolds versus Kiss My Ape. If you were a gambling man, who would you put your money on in this match, Tim?
Let's see. Wow, I'd have to now compare which cards are going to be better than the others. The Blood Moon doesn't do much in this matchup for either deck. I'm gonna, let's see. He's got Urnums and Apes, but he's up against Spirit Link here with Jack's. I'm gonna say Jack just because of the links and the tax edge combo. I think is something that Steven can't deal with. But with the Pyrotechnics and the Lightnings, yeah, Steven has a lot of dead cards actually with all the artifact removal and the Blood Moon. So I'm gonna favor Jack in this.
Yeah, that's a pretty good quick synopsis. His 2 Shatterstorms and his 2 Detonates are kind of DOA, right? Only because Jack's not running any artifacts except for 4 Ornithopters. Now, I guess you could make the argument, hey, if he plays an Ornithopter and I've got a Elves of Deep Shadow, if I can, get rid of that Ornithopter, I can still get in for damage. And he does have 4. He's got 12 1 casting cost creatures. So if he gets a Taiga turn 1, and he happens to get lucky with a couple of Scavengers and an Elf of Deep Shadow, he can sit on 1 land and never have to play a second land until he's ready to play Blood Moon or something like that.
I guess there is a scenario where he could survive off 1 and do decent. So this should be an interesting matchup then.
All right. Well, let's get over to the match. Let me get it queued up here. All right, and I'll switch over on our Whereby stream. All right. Okay, Tim, you see the game here with Jack on the left and Steve Brown on the right.
Loud and clear.
All right, let's kick this off. We're going at 1.5x speed. And these guys, Jack's not running a playmat over here. Man, we're going to have to fix that, aren't we?
That's actually pretty spicy and old school to not have a playmat.
Not have and it's like Miles Stephen Brown's got the Evil Knievel playmat.
But you notice one other thing about Jack. He's like, I don't need a playmat to cushion my cards because I don't have sleeves on these cards anyway.
Is he not even playing sleeves?
No,
that's baller. That's baller.
That's why he's not playing the Loa.
Wow. Okay, but he had some. Are you sure he's not running some clear sleeves? Maybe he printed his deck like some of our players have done.
I don't know. If those are sleeves, they're pretty neat sleeves. They look like the back of Magic cards. Maybe they are, and I just can't tell. But
wow, looks like Jack is just straight up right away taking a mulligan here.
Yeah. Well, aggressively mulliganing in a land tax deck, you can go down to 4 cards. And I think that's what you do with land tax, right? And it does look like he actually has sleeves. Those are just look like cards.
Yeah,
sleeves.
they're designed to look like Magic back sleeves, which is cool.
Very cool. He fooled me. Fooled me once, fooled me twice. Yep. Oh, there he is, going down to 5. And
Wow.
like I said, Chad, if you're playing tax, if you go down to like 3 cards and you just get a white mana source and a land tax, then you can easily go right back up and get 3 or 6 more cards out of your deck in a couple turns.
Yeah, I see. We've got Joel Flint and you in the spectator realms here. This was a top 8 match. Deck photos were shared, so we always welcome spectators, and good to see folks joining us.
All right, looks like he's keeping his 5.
Now here we go. So Steve's off to a really good start. This is exactly what I was hoping for Steve, and exactly what we don't want to see from Jack.
The ornithopter to stop his aggro from the help.
So he needs his scavenger folk. And I don't know about playing this forest right away, but if he had a Taiga, man, would he be in great shape. Taiga Purdick.
Well, he knows that Jack is on land tax here, correct?
He does. Yes, he does. And he's just, okay. I think he's just decided I'm not going to worry about the land tax trigger, and I'm going to just put the pedal to the metal. He does have potentially 4 mana on turn 3. Will he get the turn 3 Urnum Djinn? That is a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Pendlehaven. So Pendlehaven is so good in this matchup too. If he can yoink one of those 2 Pendles.
That's a very good point. He's got the Pendlehavens, and right off the bat, oh, what happened there? He blocked with the Ornithopter.
He made his Fire Sprite a 5/1 flyer to get
just to get rid of the Ornithopter. I don't know, man. I think I might have wanted to wait for a Chain Lightning or a Scavenger Folk or something. Getting in for 5 damage in the air is absolutely huge, and now he only gets in for 1. I don't know if I like that play.
He's getting the clock going, but really the play that I'm concerned about is laying that 4th land there with the Elfin play. Now he has 5 mana.
Yeah.
Unless he has a Pyrotechnics in his hand here.
Yes.
I don't see any reason to play that many lands out.
Right. If he has Pyrotechnics right here, he can deal 2 to the Ornithopter, 1 to the Wolves, and 1 to Jack.
Right, and if he does have the Pyrotechnics, which, that explains it. He has it.
He's all right.
Yeah. Then that's another reason to have saved the Bloodlust, unless he just top deck Pyrotechnics.
Yeah, it's interesting. We didn't see his hand starting off. I feel like I'm kind of rooting for Miles Stephen Brown here, but that was a great move and it was a bit of a gamble too, right? He's just, at this point, he's like, I'm just going to power through, and I'm not going to care about land tax and tax edge.
Pyrotechnics is such a powerful card. If you know you're going to be in an aggro environment where people are playing less mid-range or fatties and a lot of smaller creatures, the card is just always going to... It's such a powerful card. It can burn 4 to the face. It can kill a guy and do damage. It's almost always like a 2-for-1 effect in old school.
It's really unfortunate that Steve has not drawn into an Urnum Djinn here, because if he had, Jack would be in a world of hurt if he didn't have a Spirit Link.
Is it possible that Jack is just sandbagging the Spirit Link here for a bigger creature?
I think it is possible. Yeah, and he finally gets land tax on turn. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On turn 6 or 7, he finally comes into a land tax because he had to mulligan twice.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why Steve has played out 2 more lands. Now, he could have stepped with 4 lands and an elf.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of lands. Maybe he thinks it doesn't matter. If Jack gets the tax, he's going to tax. But...
Yeah, if he's going to tax, he's going to tax. But you're right. There's no reason to play that second mountain and that Hammerheim, because with the elves, he has the 5th mana, but Jack is already at 3 lands, and he probably doesn't need to go to a 4th. So I think Steve is just thinking balls to the walls, man. All right, and Jack finally gets the Spirit Link for one of the Fire Sprites here.
And I wonder, like I said, if he had been sandbagging that for the past 3 or 4 turns.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a smart move, right? Knowing that he could have been facing a turn 3, a turn 3 or 4 Urnum Djinn, but he didn't see it. And so
And notice there, Jack chooses to swing with the Tundra Wolves, knowing that Steven has an elf that he can attack him with 1/1, and the wolves make a great blocker, a first strike blocker for the elf. But Jack swings, has the Bloodlust, does 5 damage, puts him on 14, his opponent on 14. So that tells me the Land's Edge kill could be coming. That's just ditch 7 lands to this Land's Edge and you win.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And
he's like, I'm not playing defense. I'm trying to do damage to you.
Right. Yeah. What a move right there. And there it is. There's the Land's Edge. 1. And there's 2 damage. 4 damage. Oh, man. 6 damage. 8 damage. Is this just game over? 10 damage.
No, I guess you see that I'm a spectator in the room here watching this, but I do not remember this.
Oh my gosh.
I just called that like I saw it and thought, okay, he's bloodlusting here, so he probably has the kill in hand.
Every card in Jack's hand was a land, and then he land taxed for 3 more.
Yeah, he taxed twice, and he had that was it. 14 damage,
wow.
7 lands.
What a shocker. I'm like, holy crap.
It just shows you from Jack how powerful that one bloodlusted creature is. If he just hits him for 5, and then their opponent takes a damage from a City of Brass or an elf or something, or just any other 1/1 like his Tundra Wolf, if they're at 14, that's like the magic number. He can easily have 7 lands.
Wow, we're really seeing the brilliance of Jack's strategy there. Okay, let's take a pause and let's jump back over to the decks. Let's do a quick sideboard analysis. Let's start with Steven's Kiss My Ape deck.
Yeah, sure. So Steven's down 1 game, and he did what I wish I would have done. Let me just say, I see he's got the Pixies in the board and the Folks main deck. I kind of, like I told you recently, I think in another video, I wish I had played the Scavenger Folk, maybe main deck instead of the Pixie.
Right.
So he's got that with the Pixie in the board. I don't think he needs the Pixie, obviously, in this matchup. I mean, they get through an Ornithopter. I mean, I don't know. Let's just see. Well, Steven is going to take out, he's probably going to take out Blood Moons. He's going to probably take out the Shatterstorms. I don't know if he's going to leave Detonate just for a couple Ornithopters. What do you think on the artifact tape?
Well, the only artifacts Jack has are the 4 Ornithopters and then the 1 Felden's Cane in the main and the 2 in the board. And those Felden's Canes cannot really be dealt with artifact destruction, right? He's got to, if you try to blow them up, then you can just activate the Felden's Canes. So I think he needs to be faster than the Tax Edge combo. And his only hope is getting a damage early. His Scavenger Folks are 1/1s that can be 2/3s. So there is a scenario where you're kind of thinking, I kind of would like to have my Scavenger Folks to attack. The Detonates can kill the Ornithopter for 1 red and just get it out of the way. And you don't have to sack your Scavenger Folks for that. I don't want to keep those Shatterstorms in for sure, and I don't want to keep the Blood Moons in for sure. So I think right away you could take out the Blood Moons, take out the Shatterstorms, and just to put the pedal to the metal, you could put the 4 Pixies in.
Yeah. So my thinking here is, you leave the Scavenger Folks because they're possible 1/1 or 2/3s with Pendles, they're attackers.
Right.
I think I would swap out the 2 Blood Moons, the 2 Detonates, and the 2 Shatterstorms. I would take out all 4 of the artifact spells, not the folk, not the creatures, but the spells and the moons. That's 6 cards. I would bring in 4 Pixies and 2 Desert Twisters, just because the Twisters could randomly, I guess, hit attacks so he can't keep taxing, multiple times. And I would think that Chain Lightning or Folk or Pyrotechnics or Bloodlust, they can all handle an Ornithopter to block his team.
I don't know about that, Tim. I'm thinking if this game gets to the point where if I'm Steven and I can cast Desert Twister, the game's probably over. You know, Desert Twister's not gonna salvage the game for him, and it costs 6. And if it's sitting in his opening hand, he's gonna want to mulligan it away. I don't think I would be trying to get Desert Twister into this deck, but you hit on a key point. What makes Jack's deck work? It's actually Bloodlust, right? Bloodlust gets him the 5 points of damage, or maybe 4 if it's a Ornithopter, but he's trying to get that 5 point of damage with a Tundra Wolf, maybe a Chain Lightning for 3 more, and then boom, Land's Edge, game over. That's all he's trying to do. So you've got to have a way to stop the Tundra Wolf 5 damage. That's what I'm thinking. And Desert Twister's not it. But he does have he does have a Mazavith on the right there. And as crazy as it sounds, he can survive on 1 Taiga and a Mazavith if he had to. So
that works. So you're saying you would take out just for the 4 Pixies and the Maze as 5 cards?
Well, the 2 Blood Moons, the 2 Shatter Storms. Is there anything else we can slide out
Detonate?
of
Would
here?
you just leave 1 Detonate for an Ornithopter?
Yeah, maybe pull out the 1 Detonate and put in the 1 Maze of Ith. Because I'm just thinking, if I can come across Maze of Ith and he doesn't have a Strip Mine, as long as I have a Taiga and a Kurt Ape, or a Taiga Scavenger Folk, or even a Taiga Elves of Deep Shadow, I still got 3 mana, and I can use my Maze of Ith to hold off his potentially 5 first striking Tundra Wolf coming in. So I'm thinking that Maze of Ith seems pretty good against the particular matchup if you can get it.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that too. You're right. The Desert Twister is a bit expensive for what it's going to do in this matchup. I like that. And, one thing Steven could have done, he could imagine if instead of Twister, he had like 3 Presence of the Master, and those mountains were like 4 plateaus and maybe a couple of cities of brass there for the basic mountains, and 3 Presence of the Master. If you put that down on turn 3 or 4 against the Land's Edge deck, Jack just can't combo off and win.
That's right. And we saw that, when you pulled your all enchantments deck in tournament, what was that, 15 or 16, and just crushed. And then the very next tournament, the Presence of the Master was everywhere.
Yeah. Well, it stops Land's Edge from coming down and winning the game.
Yeah.
But anyway, it'll be interesting to see how Steven sideboarded here. I think I like your deck better on the sideboard.
All right, let's look at Jack's deck, and then we'll get over to the match. Does Jack side anything in? I don't know. I don't think so.
Nope. I think he stays just like he is. He doesn't need the artifact hate. I don't think he needs more Felden's Canes. He doesn't need the anti-blue or the Blood Moons.
No, yeah, I think he's just going to rock and roll as is. Okay, well, that makes that deck pretty easy.
Simple deck. It's some spicy pepper jack cheese.
All right, spicy pepper jack with the edging kobolds. Okay, let's get back over to the match. All right, I'm going to slide ahead here a bit. Guys are shuffling up.
Isn't that lovely when your deck is so streamlined that you just don't even have to sideboard some games?
It's pretty baller. You got to admit.
It's cool. Yeah, it's cool. And some of those sideboard cards are really powerful in certain matchups, but as you can see, he just has some matchups like he's like, I don't need any of these cards here. It's like, I just need a few mana, and I'll sit back, and if they don't kill me fast enough, I'll just throw all these lands at them. It's like, I am the feudal lord who owns more lands than you do.
That's right. Okay, so what's your predictions here? Does Steven have a chance to make this a 2-1 game, or is he just gonna crush it?
Steven absolutely has a chance here. It's just like the scenario you painted where Steven can survive off of 1 land and do a lot of good things. He can do big things off of 1 to 2 lands. And if he has a hand like that where he draws the correct cards, then yes. Although, I don't know if I love that. I would have almost waited and just kept the scavenger right there and just kept attacking until make Jack play something to stop the scavenger damage.
Yeah,
I don't know if I love the mountain right there.
Yeah, he just played straight into land taxing, and that's. I mean, maybe if you had the Urnham Gin in hand, then maybe you could make the case for that. But then if you had Spirit Link, your Urnham's just useless. So no, he could have just sat there and attacked with the Scavenger Folk over and over and over, and played the "I'm not going to play a land till you play a land" game, and he would have been in a much better spot. He's doing a damage per turn.
Yeah, that's right. Just wait until your opponent plays a defender for that 1/1. So you've got a clock. Yeah, if he doesn't have like a Tundra Wolves or an Ornithopter, that Scavenger Folk is gold.
Mm-hmm. And Jack elects to play his second land and drops a Kobold and discards a land tax. So that tells me he's got a Bloodlust in his hand. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, he's gonna try to kill a Curd Ape. Interesting. Okay. He didn't swing with the... Okay, there it is. Yeah, he's going to block. So if he bloodlusts, he still gets 2 for 1, and he's like, I don't care, I just want to remove the threat.
Yeah, he needs to get rid of that Curd Ape at all costs.
Oh,
what's going on here? He needs to do that in the middle of combat before Steve
Maybe
plays
Steve just pushed it out before they went to down. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah, we've seen here. I mean, Steve's a newer player.
Oh, he can't tax. He's taxing here.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! Uh-oh! We got a major foul on the field.
Did nobody catch that right there?
Oh no! Yeah, because you guys are all watching. You're in here too.
I may have been AFK at the moment.
Lucas
just because I was here, I might be catching what I can. I might be multitasking, doing other things on my desk or whatever.
Did they just catch it? Did he reverse it?
I hope so. I think he just shuffled those back in.
Yeah, no problem.
And just reshuffled. Okay.
Right.
No game loss. No match loss.
Sorry. No connection. I was
completely lost that. Sorry, I'll just shuffle up again. Apologies.
Yeah, no worries, man.
They caught it.
Oh, good.
Completely missed.
Maybe somebody said something that was watching.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened here. So this is. I'm glad they caught it here. I mean, it's like an unnecessary shuffle, but it's probably the best you could do given that scenario.
You know how we keep talking about Urnham Gin? Oh, if this Urnham Gin comes down, if he can get that Urnham Gin, then a Spirit Link, a 1-mana card answers it. Just like we've all seen in traditional old school where they play the swords to plowshares, right? We're so tired of seeing the swords played on our big guy. But it's like that in 4 Horsemen, right? In the block format too. It makes me wish more guys would run a Void Fate in their sideboard with their Urnham Gins to counter that Spirit Link.
Yeah. And we do see a Void Fate quite, I don't know, every so often in sideboards and things. But yes, it's such a sneaky card. And it's great against all the enchant creature spells. Okay, so to summarize, Jack did the 2-for-1, and then he also Chain Lightninged that Elves. But meanwhile, Steven's doing a pretty good job getting into his creatures. I'd really like to see those Pixies. I hope he sideboarded them in.
Oh, and he's keeping Jack off taxing, so that's important.
Yeah, there's no reason for Steve to play another land here for the rest of the game, effectively.
Right, even if you have the Urnhams or the Power Technics, it's like they can wait. You're doing well. Just keep going with what you got.
Right. I mean, he's going to eventually come into a Pendlehaven or another Curd Ape or a Pixies or a Chain Lightning, and he can very quickly clinch this game and just prevent Jack from ever land taxing again. Now, here we go. There we go.
Yeah, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say Jack's been forced to play his third land and does not play land tax.
So the best card Jack could draw right now is, what do you think?
He needs his Tundra Wolf. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Tundra Wolf. If he gets that down, Steve has to have a Chain Lightning, I think, or a Pendle.
Okay, now Steve elects to strip mine that extra plateau. That's interesting. I kind of like that move right now.
Yeah, that's a fine play. You might as well. You just send everybody back to 2 lands.
Yeah, Jack's got a pretty full grip here, and Steve's got 4 1/1s. There's the Land's Edge, though.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Steve is at 20.
You notice Steve has not presented a turn. I think that he's waiting with that Kobold to just try to smack in for 4 damage and get him at 16.
Yeah, and then he can finish him off like he did last game. So Steve needs to not play that land. He needs to discard it to do damage. That is another very questionable play. Steve, does he not realize he can activate Land's Edge himself?
You ask a good question there, Chad. A lot of players, even in old school, that are familiar with these cards, they forget that the Land's Edge is all players in Chant World can discard the lands.
Oh man, we're just seeing so many. We're seeing so many play choices here that are handing the game over to Jack when this game really could have easily been Steve's, no problem.
But who knows why he's trying? Maybe he's trying to get up to earn a mana or something. I don't know.
All right, hitting in for 4. If he's got a Chain Lightning, that could be game.
Or just a land in hand with that Taiga.
Oh, there it is. And a chain to finish him? You got that chain to finish him? Nope. So he does know he can use it. If he had just used the...
Huh.
Oh, no. And now the land tax trigger... No.
That is bizarre.
No.
So did he strip his own land? How did Jack go down to less lands? I believe he strip mined his own land with that trick.
Wow. And if Steve had just not played that Taiga and just discarded it, Jack would be dead. Oh no. So now can he deal 20 damage to Steve? Spirit Link.
That won't save him now. It's a little late.
Well, what was that? 2, 4, 6?
2.
2, 4, 6.
I don't. Surely he doesn't have
8,
enough.
10, 12, 14, 16.
Oh no.
Wow. And then Winds of Change.
That won't save him.
But Jack doesn't have any more.
That's it.
Jack doesn't have any more cards in hand, so yeah. So it looks like it is going to go to game 3 here.
Game 3. So yeah, he didn't quite get enough. But if that Spirit Link had been a land and that Winds of Change had been a land, he would have had exactly 20 damage there for Steven playing that Taiga out, which could have killed Jack a turn earlier.
Right.
So, wow, that was closer than we thought it was going to be. It looked like it was all Steven.
Yeah. I mean, Steven ended up pulling it off in the end, but playing that third land when he didn't have to, or even that second land, he could have just sat on that one land, hitting in with those scavenger folks, because that Tundra Wolf did not show up for a very long time.
Interesting. You want to skip ahead to the third game?
All right, let's skip ahead to game 3 here. Always love to see a 2-1 match.
Yep, this one. I'm on the edge of my seat here, Chad. This could go either way, as we saw. That was the scenario you painted for Steve to be able to just operate off of 1 or 2 lands.
Well, I've played enough games with you and John and Philippe and Lucas and just so many good players in the format. And one lesson I've learned is every subtle move counts against a good player with a great deck. And it's very important to carefully think through. And you almost, I think Brian Weissman has talked about this in some of our earlier commentaries in the early days of the Wild Wild West. And he said that when you're playing against a professional player or a very, very good player, he said you have to at all times imagine the worst case scenario of what they have in their hand and what that worst case scenario could do to you. And if you are in a position where if the worst case scenario is going to cost you the game, you have to make a different choice. You cannot choose to gamble if it can cost you the game, because there's a chance they have the card in their hand.
He's right. Yeah, you got to consider their outs.
That's right. Okay, looks like did Jack mulligan here?
He did, but like I said with the land tax player, I don't know if you feel, most decks, when your opponent's mulligan, you start to feel a little breathing room, like, oh, they're mulliganing. Okay, good. This is good for me. They're going to have less cards. But with tax, it's like he's just getting the tax. So he doesn't care the mulligan.
But we do have a good scenario here. Oh, and it's getting better for Steven. And it looks like he's wising up too. He got the first turn Taiga Kurdape, which he's needed in all these games. Oh, there's the strip. Oh, that's rough.
That was powerful. He needs another Taiga now, or forest.
Any forest would do here. Now that Winds of Change might very well help Steve. He really only wants 2 lands in this entire game and never wants to play more. So he had 5 cards in hand. So if he did have 2 or 3 lands in hand, maybe he can shuffle those away. And if he can get like 1 land and 4 aggro creatures, he could be in a great position to clinch game 2 here.
Like that is totally like the old Wheel of Fortune. It's like, who knows what's going to happen there? Like Jack can't tax, so he can't get more lands, and who knows what he's going to draw. And Steve already has 2 damage on the board.
Yeah. Now
Jack is way behind right now.
This is the worst case scenario for Steve.
He drew his best card in this scenario.
That's right. This is
his workhorse.
This is looking bad. He needed a forest there or a taiga, and he clearly has drawn no lands. He draws a land, but it's a strip mine. That is the worst land he could possibly get.
That's not really. That doesn't help him too much. I guess that helps a little bit, but. Jack's definitely the big man on campus right now. Yeah, and now
I don't know if I would have done that strip mine that soon. There's nothing in Jack's deck that costs 2 except for the Bloodlust that he's worried about.
He might as well. I think the strip mine does nothing for Steve to just have a colorless mana. He can't cast anything with it. And the Plateau is the best land Jack can have in play.
So Steve has just got the ultimate mana screw here. He finally gets a forest. Woof.
That's a good draw.
That's a great draw and a lifesaver. Now, it is
It might have been even better, but...
It is going to allow Jack to trigger land tax, though, and that's not good news for Steve.
He didn't attack with the 8, the 2/3/8. Maybe he forgot, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of baffled by that. You want to attack with that 8 before the Bloodlust comes down, but maybe what he's thinking is, I can't afford to get in that Bloodlust scenario again. Surely he wouldn't try and block with all 3 blockers. He should just save. He should have come in with the Kurdape there for sure.
Yeah, come in with the Ape, and if you want to, you could block the Tundra Wolf with both your 1/1s.
Right.
Because he's only got 1 land out.
That's right, yes, you could, and that'll take care of it.
Yeah.
I'm really shocked why Steve did not attack there. I don't understand that.
Let's see if he thought it through and starts swinging with the 8. Oh no, he played that forest out.
Oh no, no.
Then he didn't swing again. Oh, Steven.
No, what is going on? Oh, Steve, you could have played this so differently, and you could have navigated around the land tax. Yikes.
Yep. Now it's just like Jack's gonna get. He only got 1 mountain. Now is he on 7? He doesn't want to discard, I guess.
Yeah, his hand's really full.
Huh.
He's just getting set up.
Loaded. The Fire Sprite is big, but he could have cast that off the elf in the forest.
Yeah, he did not need that land. He did not need to play that second land at all. He
could have Jack on 12 right now.
What's going on? Now he's playing
another land. Well, he needs red, so
he can get red.
I get that.
He can get red from the Fire Sprites, though.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Chad. That's right. He could filter that through. Oh man.
Now Jack is going to get more lands.
Yikes.
So Jack will just be able to polish him off probably right here with all. He's just getting 1 though. Okay, so he might have 1 more turn. Steven might have 1 more turn because Jack did not fill up on land. But we're just seeing against Tax Edge, you cannot play the way that Steven is playing and hope to win.
Yeah, I mean, Jack still has to draw the edge. He has 4 of them, but he has to draw it, you know.
Now he's going to do his bloodlust trick, so Steve has to brown here. I would just block with that scavenger folk.
See, I would double block. Even if he,
maybe the double block, yeah.
Make him play the bloodlust out.
Right, make him use it up.
Who cares if he kills your
he
elf?
just discarded it.
Oh, wow. Okay. So maybe it's better that he didn't. Maybe it's good he didn't double block.
Well, he must have another in hand.
Well, at this point, I would leave the 8 back
Yeah.
and just attack with the sprite and the elf.
That's right. Just attack with the sprite and the elf and see what happens.
No, more lands. So unless he's got pyrotechnics again. Or is he going to just do that and play Urnham? But once again, he could play the Urnham from the elf.
Yeah.
That's a greedy play.
That is a greedy play. That's dangerous because now Jack gets the land tax again. I don't think Steve understands the tax edge angle here.
Yeah, the implications of what your opponent can do when he when he can get 3 lands this turn and 3 lands next turn now. That could be potentially 12 more damage at your head, and he can't kill him in 2 turns.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think.
Once again, Steve could have been operating off of. He does not need the Urnham. He could have been operating off of one forest and 1 Elf of Deep Shadow this entire game. He didn't even need this mountain and the Hammerheim and the extra force. And now it's just game over.
Here's the thing. If Steve has the pyrotechnics here, how much is he going to be able to do right now?
Well, last time he did 18 damage, right? Or 16 damage?
So does he have... Okay, he pitched his extra land. So there is a scenario. If Steve has pyrotechnics, he can get in for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 exactly, Chad.
Okay, so there's a chain lightning. Now he chained the wolf.
It won't be enough.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it's not enough. So I would have, I don't know. I think I would have maybe have chained that. Well, I guess he needs to get rid of that wolf in case there's the bloodlust.
Yeah, if he had a pyrotechnics, he could have hit 1 to the wolf, and 3 to him, and swung in and put him at 0.
Yeah,
if he had it.
And then he plays another fire sprite. Okay, now Jack is just going to unload all his lands here. And now he gets 3 more lands. So he just
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
And
he
then
gets attacked again because of those extra lands.
Yeah,
Oh.
and then it's game.
Yep. That really, that could have gone. That could have gone maybe another direction. I think.
I felt like this should have been a 1-2 in favor of Steve if he had just played
Less land,
played against the land tax trigger and around Land's Edge, because he just completely didn't do that. I wonder if he didn't look at the deck photos, and
I don't know,
or maybe he is newer to the format, and maybe he doesn't.
Maybe he just hasn't played against the land tax in a while.
Right.
You know, he had a good deck. He did well. He made top 8. I'm sure he had a good time.
Yeah, but we see here playing differently. We see multiple angles where Steve could have easily navigated in game 2 and 3 to a win in both of those matches, and he would have crushed Jack 2-1 if he had just made some different decisions here.
Very interesting game.
Okay, well, with that, let me switch back over. So Jack Clegg's Edging Kobolds emerges victorious 2-1 versus Steven's Kiss My Ape. And so Jack will be moving on to the semifinals, and we'll see who he ends up facing off against. Tim Kincaid joining us here tonight, and Lucas Santos, Brian Burrow, or Derek Saylor. And we'll tackle the match of Brian versus Derek in the next video. And we'll see who makes it to the semis. Tim, thanks for commentating with me tonight.
Thanks for having me. It was fun. It was some fun games.
All right. And for all of our viewers out there, thanks for watching. Hope you've all subscribed to the channel. And we'd love to have you join us for the next 4 Horsemen Old School Magic tournament. We're doing our summer league this summer. And you're welcome to join us. Check us out at 4horsemenmagic.com. And with that, we're signing off, and we'll see you next time.
Good night.